Good day, crew. I got a Burley bucket that I can attach to the boat just to try it out. I've always used Burley bags, or I've got a Burley pot I drop over if I want to go a little bit deeper. But I thought this might be a bit easier, particularly for fishing these shallower reefs like peel, mud, green, etc. The idea is it attaches to the back of the boat here. You can remove it for cleaning, or if you just want to get it out of the way. It's made out of a fairly strong plastic. It's got all holes down here, and it's one or two in the bottom as well. You get this, what they call a mulcher, a handle on that end, and some sort of pretend blades on that end. And the idea is you throw your loose bait in there, like whatever you got left over from the previous trip, you throw it in there, and you use the plunger to mulch it up, and it floats out the holes and attracts the fish. Same idea as any other burley. You can put some other stuff in there with it if you want, like the chook pellets and things, bread, whatever. I just thought it might be a convenient way to do it. So I'm going to put it on. I'll continue the video, a fitting of it, to show you how that's done. And hopefully by the time this video goes up on YouTube, I'll be out on the water testing it out, and I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, this is the back of my boat. As you can see, there's not a lot of room there. I've got just a few transducers and lights and things, and of course the tie-down straps are right in the road. But if it wasn't for the tie-down straps, the hooks would be there anyway. Got the ladder sticking up there just to make room to see where I can fit it. Putting it under the ladder doesn't seem like a good idea because it's detachable, and the stainless steel bracket that it goes onto would cut toes of anyone who's careless enough to put their foot through the ladder rung, which is what you normally do. So that's out. So the only other place I've got is right here. And I'm thinking I'll mount the bracket just over there a little bit. It's over top of this, which is a bit of a shame. I could take that off and Celastic under it and just put one washer there, to like one of these washers, to protect the wire. And that is an option, but I'm also thinking of putting a stack of washers under it, like there's 6 there, and probably only need 4 or 5, but putting that stack of washers under it to build it up and let it sit above that. Because if I take it off, there's going to be a big wad of Celastic under there. I could trim it back or pull it out, I guess. But I want to keep the transom safe. It's a wooden transom, so I'm very particular about making sure there's no moisture gets into it. So I do think that the best option is to use a stack of washers, fill up the gap with Celastic and or Sticker-Flex, and hopefully that'll be all right. I'll see how it goes anyway. Well, that is what is usually known as a disaster. I drilled the 4 holes with the intention of drilling them and coming back on the video and showing you them as I bolted the bracket on, but my measurements were out. 2 of the holes, these inside 2, came out in a longitudinal partition that's inside the boat. I thought I'd measured to go either side of it, but unfortunately that wasn't the case, so I've had to get some hot resin and fill up the holes. Now, after that's done, I've got to get some flow coat, the right colour. I've got some, but I've got to mix that up and then patch it up so that it's not obvious that I did this. And what I've decided I'm going to do in the finish, and should have done in the first place, and that is to get another stern saver, stick that on there and screw it onto that. Should have done that in the first place. Would have been a lot easier. I'll finish patching this up maybe today or tomorrow. Stern saver should arrive by Wednesday, and with any luck I'll get it all on the boat ready to go on by Friday, hopefully. Right, at this point I've taken that little cover off there, and that leaves that big blob of Celastic which is sealing the hole, but I might have to trim that down a little bit. I'll see how we go with it. Got a couple of holes there that I'm going to have to plug up where the screws went in. A little bit of gel coat finish will peel off there. I've taken these 2 off. I've just got to cut the cable ties on them now and remove them entirely, because that wire is going to go under the stern pad. I've already filled these holes, but this is how I did it. I've sealed the other side with a bit of duct tape, and I used a bit of duct tape on this side to create a trough. and I poured resin in there so it filled the hole and sat in the trough, and then I monitored it every half hour or so until it was starting to set, and once it was firm enough I took the tape off, and then I got one of these knife blades and I just slid it down there and cut it off nice and level with the gel coat. The holes are easy enough to patch up, just a bit of a pain that I had to do it. I'm just going to use this blade again to go down and remove the last of the sticky stuff off those pads that were holding the wire in place. I need both hands to do that, so I have to put the camera down. But that's the idea anyway. Just slide that under it and you should be able to clear it off with that. And maybe a bit of metho or something afterwards, just to clear the sticky stuff off. Acetone would be good. This slot isn't deep enough for the wire, so I've got to make that a little bit deeper. I've just got the Dremel tool here. A bit more speed on it. Now all I've got to do is dig that hole out a little bit where the wire goes into the boat. Now I've got another fitting here for this job. This little engraver, etcher, whatever you want to call it, should do the trick. Take that down and test with it. I'm off camera, but it goes without saying that when you're doing stuff like this, always wear eye protection. You never know when something's going to fly up at you. But you're all adults, you shouldn't need to be told that. Let's go see how that works. And this is why we test fit things. I can see that wobble that's up the top there. I haven't gone quite deep enough, and I think it's probably that bit there where it curls into the hole, because I think the rest of it's not too bad. But I'll go and make it a bit deeper and see how that goes, particularly up around this end of it. Right, let's make this a bit deeper, particularly up this other end. And this time I was a bit smarter than I was before. I bought a sample of the wire, same size wire up, and that will certainly be okay. I might just give it a little bit more just in that area. Just in case. Alright, now we'll go down and test fit that again. See how that goes. There we go. That is a perfect fit there. A little bit of wobble that's there is in the glue lining. The stickum that's going to hold it there. We've got to take that 3M tape off. That'll stick there. These holes are going to be covered up by the stickum, so I don't think there's any risk of getting any water in them. I just got to make sure I'm nice and clean, and we're going to get a good stick surface on it. These are plugged, but I'll also make sure we get a good stick on them. So that should all be good and ready to go now. So I can go ahead and stick that on. Okay, well that's the stern pad there in place. Got to leave it 24 hours before I put anything on it. Yeah, it's going to be about 24 hours because I want to go out tomorrow afternoon, so not sure what time it is now, but it must be late morning. Should be right. I'll screw it on in the morning. It's just going to screw the bracket on, so there's no weight there. I don't think it'll matter. For putting it on, it's just a matter of following the instructions. They tell you step by step what to do. I didn't bother filming it because the instructions are very clear. You clean it down, you rub it with the Scotch-Brite pad, you clean it with alcohol rub, waiting for it to dry between each time, and then stick the pad on. Oh, I forgot one step. After you rub it with the Scotch-Brite pad, you wipe it with water to get the dust away. Then you let that dry and wipe it with the alcohol pad and then put it on. And hold it as tightly as you can for 15 seconds and do it around the edges again, 15 seconds, and that's it. Let it go. It should dry and be a perfect seal there. Well, that's it all on there now. The stickum would have dried. And you just take this pin out there. I haven't got a camera stand, so this is a little bit awkward. I've got to hold the camera and do it. Pull this pin out of the way. How are we going here? Yeah, okay, I think you can see that. And you set this little notch there over, you see the notch? Yeah, you can see the notch there. Over that bar at the bottom. Pushing, oops. That's what I said, a bit awkward with one hand. I try and hold it with my knee. Hold the camera so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Push that in. and put that pin in there, and that's all securely on there. Now if we come back here, you can see that it's above the level of the bottom of the boat, which I hope will keep it clear of any spray, so there won't be any spray up from it. And 5 holes down the bottom there, which isn't a lot, and more holes here around it. I'll see how that goes. If I think it needs to get more burley out, I'll drill those holes a bit bigger. And I won't have this on the boat while I'm travelling. The whole idea is to store that on the boat while I'm travelling to and from the ramp, and when I get to the ramp I'll stick it on. After a few uses I might get sick of that and just leave it on. I'll see what happens. But yeah, that's it. Next video I'll be out on the water, and next video I'll be using this, so I'll have a report on how it's going. Hopefully it'll work well. Either way, you'll get to hear about it somewhere in the next video. Well, that wraps up this video for the installation. Don't forget to tune in for the next video where I'm on the water with it, and I'll give you an appraisal of how well it works. I don't really expect it's going to work any better than any of the other methods of putting the burley out, and I do think there's a place for cutting up your pilchards or whatever and throwing out little chunks depending on where you're fishing and what you're fishing for. I do think this will be good though, particularly around the shallow reefs where you get a lot of fish very quickly, and sometimes it gets a bit busy, particularly when I'm fishing by myself, to keep up a decent burley trail. So I'm hoping that this will make that a little bit easier. Anyway, as I said, next time on water appraisal of just how well this works. Until then, good fishing.